always fun to hear what you've done and be like, wow, that person's pretty awesome. And then realize it's you. Lucky me. Yeah, it's everyone. Good morning. Good morning, Miss Porters. First of all, to the graduates, the students, teachers, staff, and community. First of all, I want to say happy Pride, period. Second, I don't do land acknowledgements for other tribes, as this land is their land. However, I do want to say, and thank you for sharing the story of the Tungssis people. But upon any place I enter, any place I come to, I go to whoselandisthis.com because I want to know whose land we're on. And I learned 27 years later that where we are standing, this place, I learned that the little river I used to go to visit when I was here is called Tungssis Sepa, the bend in the river. And so as we sit near Tungssis Sepa today, may we know this water has been moving for longer than all of us and will keep moving beyond us. It's an honor to be here 27 years later, invited to the stage to celebrate this important accomplishment as you, graduates, walk across this threshold into this next phase of your lives. But before I begin, let me introduce myself in my Diné way. Shie Vanessa Roanhorse in Shin, Tohanen in Shlen, Torish Itni, Bashichin, Tachitni dot Chanela. And in this way, I am a Diné woman and human being. In our ways of knowing where we come from, we start with these clans, signifying our matrilineal kinship systems that have been around for hundreds to thousands of years. My twin sister and I are the eldest women born for our first clan. And as eldest daughters to this clan in our family, it means that eventually we will become the matriarchs of our own family. We will have to make key decisions about the land, the children, the elders, when to have various ceremonies, what to do when babies first laugh, and what to do when they pass. So making these decisions and holding ourselves accountable is so important for those who rely upon us. And this has been known to me since I came of age, that my role in life was to become someone my family could trust to lead. And I look at you all today, graduates, and I encourage you, embrace where you came from. Embrace your story and how you arrived at this place. When I decided to come to Miss Porter's, I definitely did not know what to expect or what I was walking into. And when I learned that I would be the first ever Native American student to attend, I hesitated. Being the first of anything can be scary and exciting, and it was. It was both things. Both things can exist at the same time, just as many truths can exist at the same time. In 1993, which sounds a bazillion years later, when I got here, the school was not ready for me and my lived experiences. And honestly, they made a lot of mistakes. Coming back here today is because of the hard work that you students, ancients and faculty have done to begin to understand the impacts a place like Porter's can have on someone like me, a young Indigenous woman, in my life, or however it is each of you steps into this place, and sometimes places not meant for you. My time here was not easy. It was hard, being the only Native American student, often being the first Indigenous person that most people had ever met. But it was a choice I made to come. As someone trying to stand in the shoes of my mother and my grandmother, I had to become accountable for my choices. And so I stayed and I learned. I learned how to thrive here. because MPS prepared me for the world in ways I never anticipated. It was here at Miss Porter's that I learned to write. I was a total Latin nerd, and I just want to say thank you to Mrs. Mooney/Strange for making Latin so rad and really gruesome. It kept me glued to the pages. My ability to write also saved me many times from hunger and displacement. I found strength in being in complex places here, in rooms, using my ability to navigate hard conversations with people with power. I also discovered my curiosity, my artist curiosity, which has been a salve to me at the times in my life when the linear ways in which success can beat you down. There were also hard lessons, like really learning what poverty meant and looked like, or realizing how historicalized and invisibilized Indigenous people have been, and I was the one who was supposed to teach everyone about it. I am just one of 574 federally recognized tribes in the United States, and not counting the state-recognized tribes, and those tribes still trying to get recognition. At the time, I did not find my voice yet, and could not explain this complexity of what it means to be Native American, American Indian, First Nations, or Indigenous. But that is clearly not the case of today. For example, did you know that 80% of the Earth's remaining biodiversity is on Indigenous lands globally? And in the United States, did you know that the critical metals to move us away from fossil fuels are located near or within cultural and environmental importance to Native people? Which means the key energy transition metals that we need, nickel, copper, lithium, and cobalt, the reserves are located within 35 miles of tribal lands. The next transition and the next generation as we move to this next economy must not just include Indigenous people, but those most impacted and at the center. And with this knowledge, I share it wherever I go, because how are we all going to show up differently this time? Another thing that Miss MPS showed me is that my lived experience is powerful. While it took me a long time to understand this, I know it started here, on these grounds. Come as a girl, leave as a woman. I left not yet as a woman or a strong Diné woman, but I left ready and armed for what the world, not built for me, and I brought it. Because you are exactly where you need to be today, ladies. Enjoy it. After high school, I went to college, and then I dropped out. Turns out I'm an excellent learner, terrible student. And the environment of academia just wasn't meant for me. So I tried everything. I made rent as a butcher, a realtor, a sous chef, a barista, and a video editor. None of these jobs were my thing, but I was learning and exploring and meeting people and trying on many new things. I spent the majority of my 20s and real talk, early 30s in total flux, but I had so much fun. For some, this may sound terrifying, and I understand that. We are told we need to know where we're going every step of the way. But for me, I wanted to find purpose, and I wanted to find joy, and I was not ready. I was not ready for the gifts that my grandmothers had instilled in me. And then one day, I guess I was. As you heard, today I'm CEO of my own firm. I co-founded one of the largest Indigenous women-led organizations in the United States, serving closer to 20,000 today across North America. We have just launched the first ever Indigenous Women's Apprenticeship Program in the United States. It starts at the end of this month. We found 10 incredible women across the entire country, from Alaska all the way to Puerto Rico. We will this summer hopefully be announcing our $10 million Integrated Impact Fund. And this fund is for Indigenous women to get access to capital so they can then eventually be ready for seed to Series A. In my lifetime, I would love to see tons of our women exiting so they can return those millions to billions of dollars back to the people and the solutions they're creating. And like I said, all of this is to say, when I was ready, I brought it. I really think it's important that you understand we have to do this on our own terms. There's going to be so many champions, cheerleaders, naysayers, and co-authors of your life. But as each of you think about what this journey ahead of you and how you're going to get there, just remember, it's not when you get there, but how. I think about Octavia Butler. She had to write herself every day into stories because no one was writing her story. Dreaming of a future, while making sure that she was incorporated into that vision of what the future could be. I think about my mom, who didn't understand why I wanted to come to this school. But behind the scenes, she worked tirelessly to make sure I was able to get my scholarships so I could attend every year. The letters she wrote on behalf of me, dreaming of my future. Today, as you walk across the stage and grab your diploma, I'm going to quote my dad for you. You have everything you need right now. Now go do with it every day with love, thought, and care. Congratulations, class of 2023. May you always write the future because you are the ancestors our wildest dreams thought of. Kehat.